The new channel. See the new. The new channel. See the new. The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the new channel, here to help you see the new you. This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo, your host of the HR Hotline. Welcome back to the new channel. My apologies again if my connections will have some problems later on, but I think this will be the last because earlier I already called my good friend Renato Atoyao of Globe. We are just here very near in Parañaque. I don't know why that the lines, the fiber lines, optic lines are really very scarce. But I'm waiting and praying. I pray before we start that the connectivity will not be a problem. And I am waiting for the Globe installers to have it installed now because by Monday I have a webinar with PMAP. And I know that there are some collaboration tools, just like Webex, that will require more of the bandwidth. See, a 64-year-old already knowledgeable of the technology. With Zoom, the requirement is a little bit lighter, but we are using StreamYard. It's a little bit heavy, plus the Webex. So I applied at Converge. I am already mentioning, and then I'm still waiting for them. But I knew that there is a connection with Globe, and Atoy is a friend also for a special guest, and I'm very sure for the longest time I didn't call him. I have friends, but sometimes I don't really have to tax them if it's actually a personal requirement. But I did because I need it most. So I'm just thinking, come August, wow, there will be a problem as to connectivity. And that will be one of the topics that we will discuss. Our topic for today is really very interesting. It's still with the season, with the theme of the first season of HR Hotline. Our topic for today is developing the MS, that's the micro and small, and ME, medium enterprises. So MSME. HR, bounce forward. So what are the HR bounce forward abilities? I would like to start with the statement. From chaos or from fear to finding solutions. And woe to us, HR. It is our challenge and we have to accept it. We have to find solution. From crisis to creating options. We are the frontliners now. So we have to function our role, our heart as an HR. And you must make sure that we have the competencies needed by the organization. So it depends. So we are now targeting the small, the micro and small, and the medium enterprises. What are the competencies required of that particular organization and the skill sets that we have to develop to be able to respond to that? So bouncing forward, I have here a ball. Actually, this I got this from my dogs. They are with me now. So when we release it, it bounces forward. So it tells us that from the technical proficiency in the organization, that's a competency, then it fell, then there is that bouncing point that it goes up again to the leadership proficiency. So from technical proficiency, so it goes down and it springs back. So what is the point where it has to spring, not spring back, spring forward? Because a ball doesn't fall this way and it goes back. A ball falls this way and it springs forward or it springs upward. Unless you're going to bounce it through a wall and it goes back to you. So the the process goes this way. So it comes from the staff, the technical proficiency, and then with it goes down, the competency required are now for the senior technical people, and then with it's the base, the floor, the one that is actually going to catch it is the HR or the middle manager level. Then it springs back to be caught by the leaders, by the senior leadership, and then to the principals. So it goes that way. So this is maybe the problem. So it goes down. So somebody's catching it and it goes and goes down. So and it's chaotic anymore. So it's a disruption, it's a VUCA. Then if it's hit, who is supposed to catch it? The person in the organization who has that role to catch it, for one, is the HR manager, the middle management. They catch it if the staff, the senior cannot hold it anymore, but it should not go down deeper. Then the manager has to make sure that he has the ability, which is our topic, the bounce forward ability to bring it back to the leadership, then to the principal, and it goes back until the the cycle moves on, and you go forward. So what is actually needed? Your role. You must know your role, your knowledge. Then you build it, and you have your reflection in it while you're doing it, and you act on it. So you have to have that bouncing competencies, that cultural intelligence, that you are utmost emotional intelligence, agility quotient, utmost adversity quotient, cultural quotient. You integrate all of them, that is knowledge, and reflect on it while you are doing it, and then build your competency to put it forward. Pardon HR, it is our role. We are frontliners in this ultimate disruption, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. So we need to have what we call that competency of leadership, that competency of communication, that competency of strategic thinking, I remember my friend Femery because she asked me one time to join CICP's webinar on critical thinking. It's so easy to tell you, leadership. I have a webinar with PMAP and only very few registered from your end. I have a new webinar with PMAP starting on Monday. You can still catch up on the new HR. It's a leadership proficiency workshop. And I'm doing it as to share that what are we going the lessons from pre-COVID and what we are supposed to do now and how we're going to bounce forward using all the concepts. One of the concepts actually is that of uh, Lloyd Luna's step back leadership. So how are we going to use all these concepts and all these styles? So leadership, communication. Oh, all of us will say, I can. A lot of you are better than me. I'm a Bicolana, and sometimes I eat my words. But that is not a communication. There should be content, purposive communication. Then that one of strategic thinking, you need first what they call design thinking and your critical thinking. And then, of course, collaboration and synthesis. These are competencies how to bounce forward. And we need to have that. And of course, I mentioned that earlier. You now have to be technological savvy. I was looking at our guest earlier and how Apple are uh, the executive producer of this HR hotline, giving instructions to my friend. And we're all both senior and we are happy learning the new technology. And the last one, corporate and practice specialty. A lot of us claim that we know what to do, but it takes time to really hone our skills. Nobody can tell us that we know what is happening because this is something new, the protocols. Just last night, a good friend of mine who I asked to listen to me at this time was still asking me, are we still going to follow the protocols? Is there an advisory from Dole that tells us that it is mandated to have this and that? Just imagine for 4 months that HR person has been somewhere else and not updated on what to do. So that is the expertise that you have comes your practice. HR is both a profession and a practice. The practice that in any of the level, an assistant, a staff, a senior HR, a manager, or ICHRO, you must practice. Practice what you preach. You are told. And that, and that also, you have to be corporate. And then, that is where I will going to introduce our guest. I am very sure my friends in big multinational corporations, of course, they benchmark with each other. They attend PMAP summits. We have one digital. So they are in the know. And of course, the capability and the financial capability. So, as far as business continuity is concerned, the support is there. But what about for the HR in small, micro, medium enterprises? So let me introduce a good friend of mine. He has been an HR for the longest time. He is older than me. used to work with big corporations, actually higher level of HR people. And then he has been a past president of the People Management Association of the Philippines. One thing with him, which why, is why he's my idol, he does not grow old. He loves to eat food and he loves to party. And I'm very sure, I don't know how he can survive with this lockdown, but he's not going out. He's a past president of PMAP. He is now the executive director of PMAP. But what I would like to mention is my friend. And then recently, he sent fruits to me. So that is what I'm going to introduce him. A good friend of mine, a mentor, because he can tell me what I am supposed to do. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Mr. Rene Henner. Hello,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hindi tayo nag-usap kanina, nawala yung connection ko.
Okay lang yun. Yes, we're in the same boat. That's why we understand each other.
This is the new normal. I understand from PPO, but you were with Pulscon yesterday. You
Yes,
you you
we had
shared
a
a
good
lot.
discussion. Yeah, we had a good discussion with Pulsecon under GMM, and the best part was there will be a collaboration activity between Pulsecon and PMAP on how to further improve on the relationship between the PulseCon and the principals, mainly for our
Yes,
general membership.
yes, that's
We-
true. Because Pulscon is the legitimate contractors. And at this time that everybody would like to economize, sometimes they will, principals, especially the micro, small, and medium, this is a little bit controversial. They would rather go to some agencies wherein they charge a little bit lower than what is the legitimate. So we have to look
yes,
into that. We have to be cooperative, collaborate, and control and check on our rights. Anyway, um, I know also we were together in a lot of PWAP events, and one of those is Project Share before
yes,
we go to the project share. And actually, this is your brainchild. You spearheaded this before, during the time of past president of the Policarpio, and of course, we perfected it during my time in 2016. Can you tell us so that we can segue to our why we are really after the micro, small, and medium enterprises? Can you tell us your advocacy on this, Executive Director Rene?
because we are aware no, that because the general membership of PMAP is not focused alone on the multinationals. If you take a look at the profile of our general membership, 80% of our members will come from they come from the MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises. Now, we also understand that these are the people who really, the organizations who really propel the national economy. However, individually, these MSMEs are challenged as far as budget or financial requirements are concerned. No? So part of the advocacy of PMAP is to help all of these members by letting them understand and learn what are the latest trends in human resource management. And not limiting it only to HRM, but likewise on how do you successfully operate your business. In our small way, we are trying to assist them on that. That is one reason that's why we came up with Project Share. For the information of everyone, the
Is
Project Share
there
is a
is
way of
there is there a project share event forthcoming?
no, we just had one last week.
Sayang.
Maybe
So
another maybe another one is coming up next August, this August. And I will call you on that, President Jesse, because you should be one of the stalwarts as far as the resource people are concerned. Because
Were you listening to me earlier that a friend of ours, I will tell you later, a friend was calling me late last night and asking me about the protocols and which is why I'm going to ask you also regarding that about the mandated mass testing and everything. But I was thinking, 4 months, our friends are not yet updated, so we really need to have a project share. So that this
yes,
is just sharing what the trends and what we are supposed to do.
yes, yes. We're
I
going
know
to,
that there is a forthcoming event in PMAP, which is the summit, the digital summit. Can you tell us
yeah, that
before we
will
have the break? Can you tell us before we get the break? What is this? When is
uh,
this hearing?
that will be on July 29 and 30, and
Yes.
that will be from 1 to 5 p.m. It's a 2 day session, and we will be talking a lot of items regarding human resource management. And now we're focusing, just like the first digital summit, we're now focusing also on the educational sector,
Good, good.
because come August 24, officially the academy will start teaching our children. But we wanted to be sure that there will be a good sync between the schools, the industry, the parents, and the students themselves. That's why we invited a lot of luminaries
Wonderful.
from the academy.
Wonderful. So that means even if you're working at home from home as the executive director of PMAP, I'm very sure your plate is really full because I do webinars with you and then you have events.
Yeah, Jesse, we're a lot busier now than before COVID, before the lockdown. We're a lot busier because that
Okay.
is in relation to your topic. That's also what all HR people should be competent of. You mentioned early on about agility because of
Yes.
the constant changes and conditions around us. Every HR manager must really be agile. We have to be ready to pivot when we need it. We're not going to do this is all right, we'll do it na. Tomorrow we might change it. So there is
Okay.
always, sabi nga
Okay,
natin nung
Rene,
araw,
we'll go into that conversation after this first break. After this first break. I love this live
okay.
streaming. Okay. Can we have the first break of our first break for announcements? Welcome back to HR Hotline. Okay, so yeah, I have to inform you that you have to log on and be tuned in to the TNC, the new channel. From Mondays to Fridays, we have the big picture, we have Lloyd Luna, and of course, every lunchtime. These are, if you ask me why on that particular time, because these are actually the time that you like you to be with us because you're using your gadgets. So I'm your lunch day every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Then at 8:30 p.m. we have the business with Dr. Mike, and then the fourth project with Bob Kilapio. And then, of course, before my slot, we have the U-turn with my good friend Carmine, and the home buyer with Dante Salamat. We have also fun, the puppet stories with Mr. Wan Lu at 5 p.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays. And we have the marketplace at 10 o'clock in the evening. And this is a very, very nice, what do you call this, uh, show that talk. It's actually only on Mondays, but it gives us a sort of a TED talk wherein invited speakers give their thoughts and share their thoughts. And then we have the after shift with Chino and Tricia, the town hall, and of course, again, be tuned in and log on to the TMC. You have the live stream is the new broadcast. So join us on the Facebook. Okay, so now let's have Executive Director of PMAP, Rene, because I'm so excited to ask him questions. Yes, sir. Okay, I will lump three questions so that you'll have the luxury of time to answer on our topic, which is developing the counseling forward capabilities for HR in the MSMEs. So the questions will be, how will the HR spearhead the forward initiatives in their organizations? How will they facilitate the transition? So it's very similar. And what are these bounce forward strategies? Can you tell us?
Okay, yes. First and foremost, Jesse, I still am very, very conscious about the health issues. So therefore, our HR people should be able to focus first on their people. That's what the mantra of PMAP is, people first. So HR managers must first take a close look on the health issues or health concerns of their people. That's the first one. The second one is they must be able to assist their owners or their organization on how to manage so that the business will stay afloat. We all are aware that because of this lockdown, the business economy has really suffered a lot. And to date, I'm sorry to say there are about 7 million Filipinos who are out of jobs. No? Therefore, but not to fear because there are so many things that we could do as HR people. And as I said, help your organization so that their business will stay afloat. Now, the third challenge of the HR manager is to determine how do we start operating our business. And to my mind, this is where we should come in again. We should be able to define clearly and concisely what our protocol should be. Lahat ba papapasukin mo kagad? O kailangan muna mag-umpisa tayo sa essentials? Like, for example, there are businesses who already shifted to mode of work from home. It's very easy. Uh, it's very convenient for the employer and the employee to work from home because to my mind this really minimizes the health exposures of your employees and the employers. However, there are challenges to this likewise, like the necessities. What are the necessities? Do your employees have the necessary hardware and software, like laptops and PCs? Or do they have the proper connectivity, like Wi Fi, like what encountering now, Jesse, na nagkakaroon tayo ng problema sa connectivity.
What is
Plus,
your thought on that? Rene,
yes,
what is your thought on that? Because we're talking of micro and small. Who should provide those gadgets, those appliances?
of
And
course,
who should provide the connectivity?
ako ganito. Kasi officially, because that's part of work, that should be provided by the employer. That's the
Right.
first. But given the current situation, wherein both the employer and the employees are suffering, then I think there should be a close discussion between the employer and the employee. Para naman hindi lahat ng burden nasa employer, no? Because yung employer is trying their best also to give you employment. At pag nakikita mo yung employer mo is medyo hirap, pag pinabayaan mo siyang nahirapan, it's eventually the employee rin na magsasuffer.
And let me cut
Buti.
you. And
Yeah, yeah.
and that is the problem before, that if you give these appliances, maybe a little percentage of that may masira or may not return it, or di ba, sabihin na nakakam. So nakakatakot din if you're really a small or you're a micro, and then you're going to provide all this laptop kasi it's also an investment. I have also a question here. How about yung flu vaccine? Sino ba dapat ang magbigay niya? Kasi you mentioned
Okay.
earlier about the health.
Yes, yes. The flu vaccine, officially PMAP has already said, we are against the government pronouncement that it should be shouldered by the employer. Because our position here in PMAP, it should be shouldered by PhilHealth. Remember that for the past so many years, both the employer and the employees are giving contributions monthly of about 3% sa PhilHealth. Now, PhilHealth should be the one that they should be able to put it to use now. Ngayon natin kailangan yan. Because in one of our webinars with the Department of Trade and Department of Health, I mentioned this. It is all right to give ayuda to the marginalized sector, but the government must also give ayuda to the MSMEs para makatayo silang mabuti and they can restart their businesses and therefore propel our national economy and therefore generate employment for their people. Kasi pag nawalan ng trabaho lahat, mas malaking problema natin. Wala tayong babalikan.
Kasi
So,
ang problem ngayon, Rene, is that mayroon kasing lumabas na feed that for you to boost your immunity, dapat mayroon kang flu vaccine. I know when I was with Inquirer, pre-COVID, we had that yearly. Pero I remember, we shoulder it, we buy it. Ang tanong ngayon, so everybody would like to have that, aside from the test and yung mga test. So everybody would like to have a flu vaccine. So ano ang thoughts mo yan? Who should really be the one? Should it be the employee or should it be the employer? Especially if you're just a micro enterprise.
kasi sa akin yung flu vaccine, dapat protected. Pwede ba natin gamitin dyan yung HMO plans natin?
Pwede.
From the employer. Di ba may mga HMO? Kasi this is another factor dito sa aking note. Sinabi ko yan, that when we restart, HR must be able to double check the HMO plan that they currently have. Because iba na eh. Yung dating HMO plan na binigay natin provisions is totally different from what we need today. So dapat kung ka dyan, agile ka rin dyan, dapat mag-pivot din tayo dyan. Ngayon, going back, kailangan there should be a good balance between the employer and the employee. Kasi lalo sa MSMEs, nakikita ko talaga sila, maraming nagtitiklop na nahihirapan. Therefore, sabi ko nga, mag-hold hands yung employer at employees so that everybody will move forward. Hindi isa lang magso-shoulder ng cost.
Yes, yes. So what are those, ano po yung mga bounce forward strategies? What else? Ano pa po ang strategies? Especially kung what is now the help of the HR so that business will continue. Ano po mga strategies? Of course, dapat mag-recruit pa siya. Of course, dapat continue pa rin yung mga HR programs. Pero ano po mga strategies? Tell us po. Update us.
Kasi when we say, sabi ko nga, people's first, we're talking here about safety. All businesses must ensure that workplaces are safe. The employers must implement an employee health screening procedure. Kasi
Right.
remember, ang ating motivation dito is everybody must be safe. Must be safe. Hindi lang natin titignan na, kailangan kumita tayo. So kahit na unsafe yung tao, pinapapasok natin o unhealthy. Therefore, that's a role of, we must have a response to, HR must have a response also. Pag nakita mo isang employee mo tested positive, dapat meron tayong procedure. How do we handle it? Meron tayong tracing procedure. Then we must be able to define also who should stay at home and who should go to the workplace.
Right.
All of this. Di ba? Hindi kasi yung iba akala nila nagbukas na opisina, lahat tayo pasok na. Hindi ganun eh. Kasi you're exposing them in so many risks, no? And dapat pag pumasok, pag nag-workplace, nagbukas, in some of my clients, sinasabi ko yan, hindi nyo basta pabubuksan. I-re-layout mo rin yung opisina mo to ensure na meron kang social distancing. In fact, I even went to the extent of magagawa tayo ng traffic flow. Pagpasok, hindi sila nagsasalubong. Dapat, di ba dapat may traffic flow ka na even yung customers. Oo. Di ba? So, tapos yan, yung mga, isa pang key point ko rito, we must restrict business travels. Restrict.
Right.
I-limit mo lang ang business travel sa essentials. Now, going back, Jesse, kasi ang current kayo ng mga nakikita natin, yung lack of transportation. Diba? Lack of transportation. Marami hindi nakakapasok. Oo, natatakot sila paano papasok, baka huliin sila. Ang ginawa ng ibang client ko, yung mga in-identify nilang negatively tested, hindi na nila pinauuwi. They rented a staff house near their workplace. Paglabas sa opisina ng mga tao sa workplace, kino-confine nila, naka-quarantine sa isang lugar na may proper protocol para hindi na sila uuwi every day because that's very risky. The other one, what they did is they provided transpo. Alam mo yung transpo, sabi ko, nagbigay ba kayong kotse? Hindi. Binigyan namin ng mga workers, itong mga reconditioned bicycles. Yung mga galing sa Japan na luma, nirecondition na, it cost only about 3,000 para yun ang vehicle ng mga tao na pumasok, no? So, yun yung mga solution to some of the issues that we saw, no? Tapos, nasagot ko ba yung tanong mo? Tapos, yung return to work procedure, marami ring sa akin ang tingin ko, when you return to work, there should be a target reporting schedule, no? You should start first with essentials using the competencies that you will require. Then, for those na hindi naman lahat nagpo-full time, HR must be able to define also what I call the time sharing scheme. Like for example, ang trabaho is 4 days lang. 4 days lang. Everybody is used to 6 days a week. Pero hindi tayo papasok ng lahat ng 4 days. Maghati-hati tayo. Let's spread the wealth.
Will that work no pay? Ang tanong doon. Will that work no pay?
Yes. Implement. Tapos, provide work schedule para yung mga tao are properly protected din. Hindi sila daily exposed sa tao. Okay.
So it needs a lot of training, orientation, onboarding to that particular new guidelines.
Yes.
Ang tawag natin yun, you still have to onboard them so that they will be aware that there are no guidelines to follow. So kailangan yun.
Yes. Kasi new normal na nga eh. Nag-new normal na tayo. In fact, another challenge sa HR, ito, natatawa ko eh. Kasi marami nagtatanong na empleyado. Dapat ang kilang nila, may pasok pa ba ako, may sweldo ko. Pero pag pumasok na sila, meron pa nagtatanong, Meron pa ba kayo potential na magkaroon ng merit increase? May potential pa ba kami magkaroon ng promotion?
Yeah.
Et cetera. Oh, therefore, ang HR must be able to respond to that. Ano ba yan? Kasi marami nagbago. For example lang, performance appraisal system is still effective. How do you manage a performance appraisal? How do you ensure that people work from home are doing their jobs effectively? Tayo sa PMAP, ang ginawa natin sa PMAP, we rewrote yung job description ng lahat ng ating staff.
Oh,
Because we said,
can you repeat that? Kasi dapat yan malaman ng mga HR. Di ba, Patrol po yun po? You
Yes.
did what you did? Rework on the job description.
rewrote on the job description of our staff because hindi na nila magagawa yung dati nating ginagawa based on job. Bago na because lahat tayo digital na Di ba? So lahat yan. Tapos we focus on, hindi na kami nagmamarket sa mga attendees. Nagmamarket na kami ngayon sa mga kumpanya at mga sponsors. Doon na kami nakatingin. Okay? Tapos we take a look, we scan competition, etc. All of these things. No? Now, yung ating staff, as I said, paano ko sila minimeasure? This is where the element of trust of the manager or the HR should come in. Trust. Hindi mo na sila bibilangan ng oras. We take a good look now of ano ba yung output. Take a look at the output. Ano expected output mo sa kanya for the day, for the week, or for the month. Yun lang ang pinare-report ko sa kanila. Kasi, alam mo, we have to understand also as HR people. Pag work from home ka, ang dami mong stresses na haharapin. Nandyan yung pinagsasaing ako ng misis ko. Sasaing. Di ba? Nandyan yung caring for the elders, nandun yung caring for the children, nandun yung pati caring for your pets. Sabay-sabay lahat yan, no? So, tapos, alam mo, Jesse, I found out also na nag-survey ako sa staff after 3 months of lockdown. Alam mo yung mental stress nila, grabe. That's why I made that intervention. And then, kasi akala nila 24 hours. Pag may tumawag o nag-text na member, ang kanilang mood isasagutin kagad. So, naglabas ako ng what I call business etiquette. Unless the house is on fire or emergency, ang ating official work time is 9 to 6. Unless there is an exemption. 9 to 6. Kasi, alam mo kasi ngayon, yung 24/7 masyadong abuse. Kaya yung mga staff ng PMAP, ang talagang mental stress nila, grabe. I had to go now to come up with an intervention with a psychiatrist para mawala yung stress na yun. We're going to do this for 8 weeks. 8 weeks kami. All we're going to address is the mental stress of our people. And I suggested,
alam mo yan, ang affected are the younger ones. Are the younger ones. Kasi ang laki ng expectations nila ng traditional concept of going to work. Ang nakita, I had one with the PMAP staff that I apologized and said that, kasi ganito yun. Kasi imagine, I mentioned about Atoy, I called him up, and pareho kami, we wake up, I'm very sure ikaw rin, because if it's work from home, wake up late. And then, the tendency is for us to work longer. Nakakaabot tayo ng after office ng dati. So we wake up late at around 10, then we start to work in the afternoon, and we go to work only up to 10. Kagabi, I was still talking with a good friend of mine, 11 na yun. So, yun na nga, younger people are really stressed on that kasi mayroon din buhay. I love that. But you mentioned also, which other HR listening now can benchmark, wala na pong shaming po at hindi na po yan problema. Yung may mental health problem. Mental health po, hindi yun yung medyo you're a little bit off or unbalanced. Ang mental health, ito yung anxiety, stress sa work. And I'm very glad that you're experiencing that people who have problems as far as that, mayroon nang makausap. Hindi rin na may tanong po ako, medyo controversial. Is redundancy an urgency? Is reducing your workforce an urgency? Kasi yan ang yan ang unang problema ng HR ngayon eh. Can we have your thoughts on that? Especially the
Pakiulit,
micro and small.
Jesse, pakiulit mo. It did not come clear to me.
Ang problema po is on para bang ang quick fix is to reduce the workforce. What is your
Sa
advice
cost.
on that?
Conscious
So
sa
that
cost.
there will be yung cost, magtatanggal ng tao. So ano po ang ano mo niyan?
Akin, alam mo, sa akin sa una, definitely no. Because unang-una, kung ang ano reason mo, ba't ka magtatanggal ng tao? Okay, lack of business because of COVID. Okay? But, again, pag nagtanggal ka ng tao, you define your kind of employer brand. No? Ang PMAP has always been a people first mantra. People first. Ngayon, naintindihan natin na huwag kang immediately magtanggal ng tao o mag-retrench. That's why there are so many flexible work arrangements. No? Kaya nga, isa dyan yung time sharing, work from home, etc. para to bring down the cost. Like in PMAP, for example. Modesty aside, wala tayong tinatanggal na regular employees natin. What we did first is to examine our financial statement. Again, dito mga HR, hindi lang tayo HR. Matuto tayong magbasa ng financial statement. Because that is where you can tweak kung saan ka makakapagbaba ng cost. Kasi karamihan ng HR, pag nagtanong, paano tayo magbababa ng cost? Magbawas ng tao? No. Like in PMAP.
I love that.
Di ba? Ganun ka automatic. Tapos isa pa, sasabihin pa na isa, pag nag-cost cutting, immediately kinakat down, training. Bakit training? Di ba?
Kailangan mo yun.
Correct. Kailangan mo yung training to upgrade the competencies of your people to improve the efficiency of your organization. Ngayon, tao mismo tatanggalin mo, din naging inefficient na yung organization mo. Now, going back, ang sinasabi ko, sa financial statement, tignan mo ano yung malaking factor na malaking cost nyo. Tignan nyo. For example, ako, sabi na ako, kasi walang masyadong revenue papasok sa PMAP dahil NGO tayo ngayon. Ngayon, sabi ko sa kanila, wala tayong overtime. That's one way of bringing down cost. Okay? Pangalawa, sinabi ko sa kanila, dati kinukommute namin lahat ng leaves. Dahil ngayon wala akong cash flow. Sabi ko sa kanila, utilize your leaves. Hindi ko kayong mababayaran ng... Then that's another point of bringing down the cost of PMAP. And then tinignan ko rin yung aking mga variable cost, yung aking fixed cost na pwedeng ibaba. Like for example, utilities sa opisina. Ay, Jesse, alam mo ba, pinaalis ko pa yung ating ating telephone system kasi wala naman tao ron eh. Ang laki-laki na binabayad ko ron monthly, pinaputol ko na.
Right.
Without, kaya nga ang HR must take a look doon sa financial statement. Ano yung pwede mong i-cut down on cost without touching your people? Imagine ninyo, sino bang gagawa ng trabaho? Hindi pa people? Pag ready ka na to go, pag tingin mo, wala kang tao, ay, ni-retrench ko pala sila last month. So, ikaw rin na mahihirapan.
Now, this leads us to another controversial question. Paano kung mayroon kang union? Ano ba dapat ang role ng HR at ang role ng mga tao sa union ngayon?
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
With all due respect sa union, okay, we should live together. The role of HR is to convince the union and make the union see it from the point of view of the total business and its effect in the future and its effect on its people. Pag marami na akong nasabihan nito, Jesse, pag ganitong critical times, ano ba ipaglalaban natin? Karapatan ng union o kabuhayan ng empleyado? Siyempre, first and foremost ako, kabuhayan. Pag ipinilit mo yung karapatan, hindi tayo makakasundo. Paano ka? Magkakarapatan ka ba? Wala na nga akong negosyo, wala na nga akong kita, hihingi ka pa sa akin ng general or CBA increase. Mahirapan talaga tayo magkasundo. So dapat ang role ng HR is to convince and influence the labor group see it our way. Ang HR naman, employer, wag mo namang abusihin. Pag pumayag sa iyo yung mga union officers mo at members, wag mo namang abusihin. Be fair in treating everyone. Kasi ang sinasabi ko, baka nagko-cost cut ka sa labor group, pero yung mga executives mo, yung mga managers mo, living like in Las Vegas. Hindi. Pag nag-cost cut ka, you must cost cut all levels in the organization across para makita nilang fair
Ay,
cut.
maganda kong question yan, pero we'll have our second break. Don't leave first kasi we'll have our third I love you. I love your wisdom. Hindi ako nagkamali to have you as a guest here.
I
Kasi,
learned
alam
from
ko,
you.
those are listening. Isang statement lang po ni Rene. Isang ano na yun, isang training na po yun. Isang training na po yun yung pinabi niya. So can we have the second break? Then we go back to more questions before we. Welcome back to the HR Hotline. We are now in this segment, which is job fair. And then let's go first to that spelling of FAIR. And then I would like to thank our sponsor, Wills Design and Associates. They are a construction firm in Quezon City. Up to now, they are in need of engineers, people in the administration, in the warehouse, and even in HR. If you're interested, just look for their, Google them and look for their numbers, or you can just proceed to their office in Tandansora. That is for the job fair. Now, the spelling of FARE. So with this, I just have two items to discuss. So how do you fare as far as our topic is concerned? How do you fare as far as our topic is concerned? So what is flashed now in the board are in the screen are the positions needed by Wills and Associates. We are now going into the second season. Pakiusap sa mga friends ko, mag-sponsor naman kayo. Ito, friend ko ito, si Gani, nag-sponsor siya. So yun, meron siyang portion dito. They need HR officer, graphic artist, just imagine the copywriters. For those who are looking for jobs, proceed to Wills Desena and Associates in Tandansora, Quezon City. By the way, a good friend of mine, si past President Grace Rongon, also informed me that one of these days we are going to have here a virtual job fair in this show. Hindi ko pa nga ito nasasabi sa ating executive producer, but they will sponsor a virtual job fair in this show. Okay, so what is class there? So let us now go to the fair. How do you fare as an HR person? How do you fare as far as what was mentioned by Rene? Ang sinabi niya kanina that you must have already what you call the HR audit. You call that HR audit when you try to review what you're doing. May sinabi siyang napaka-importante, rewrote. Hindi naman revise, review, and then rewrite nga. Rewrite your job description. I've been telling you for the past episodes, dapat pre-COVID, competency-based ka na so that your job descriptions may KRA at KPIs so that hindi ka time-bound. Yung sinasabi ni Executive Director Rene kanina, you're output-based. So how do you fare into that? But the other one is listening to all the woes, the challenges that Rene shared with us. How do you fare? Kaya pa ba? Kakayanin. Kaya nga, job fair. How do you fare in this practice? How do you fare in this profession? This is the time. Be with PMAP, be with associations, you need a support group to ang continuity, ikaw muna. So let's have Rene again. I have two more questions before I give his parting message. Rene?
Yes. Yes, Jesse.
Yes, you mentioned about benefits. And then of course, alam ko yan, when I was an inquirer, some are equitable, some mayroon doon sa mga bosses. What are your thoughts on that? Kasi I know there is no diminution in pay. Pero how about benefits? Na sinabi mo kasi, ikaw nagsabi ikaw nagsabi na dapat mo, you have to cut costs. So what are can we cut on benefits na given to employees? Say yung mga eyeglass subsidy, yung mga hindi naman kailangan. Transportation.
Okay. Hindi natin pwede gawin yan because that will be a violation of our labor code. No, no diminution in pay and benefits. However, early on, I also mentioned there should be a close understanding between the employer and the employee. Because the Department of Labor or any legal courts will not question you if it is voluntarily given and agreed upon by the employee. Like for example, if your employer is transparent to you that we will be able to sustain you only 3 months down the road because of our costs. And then I've seen many companies, Jesse, na nasa red na sila. Tapos yung mga tao nagsabi, bawasin nyo na lang yung aming benefits, bawasin nyo yung aming pay. Put it in writing, they agree. Tumagal pa sila, up to now. Buhay pa yung kanilang organization. Because that is what I say that ang employee and employer, hindi tayo magkalaban. Tayong dalawa are holding hands so that we can pursue the goals of our business and at the same time, maintain the profits needed by the organization, and therefore I maintain your employment and your livelihood. Yan. Para, alam mo, maraming ganyang situation ngayon. Marami rin ako nakikitang mga nagtatanong sa akin, Sir, tama ba na 3 araw lang ako papasok? Dati 6 days ako pumapasok. Sagot ko sa kanya, buti nga pinapapasok ka pa eh. Maraming iba hindi nakakapasok. So kailangan intindihin yun. Hindi kayo sinasakal ng employer ninyo, especially at this time. Take a look, as I mentioned in the start of our talk. To date, there are already 7 million displaced workers because of COVID. 7 million today. Gusto ba nating magdagdag pa tayo dyan? Mag-intindihan tayo. Bumalik pa rito yung mga OFWs na nawalan. So, ang dami mong competition ngayon dito. Di ba? Kaya kailangan mag-intindihan. Yung sinasabi mong cut down on cost on pay and benefits, pwede lang yan pag nag-agree ang employee mismo or your union in writing.
Okay. My last question before you give your parting. Ano ngayon ang role ng HR sa boss niya? Ang mga micro and small, di ba mala naman yung siya na yun eh. From the HR manager, boss na yun eh. Ano ang thoughts mo dyan? Ano dapat siya? Kasi did you listen to me earlier? Yung bounce forward, siya dapat yung base na mababounce yung ball eh. So dapat may role siya na dapat parang mabounce, ito-throw niya yung ball doon sa leader, sa principal. Ano ang thoughts mo dyan? That is my question. My last question.
Between the boss, the owner, and HR, the HR he plays the biggest influencer as far as the boss is concerned. Kaya nga sabi ko, yung HR must be able to earn his seat in the mancom. As much as possible, you are the eyes and ears and tongue of the boss. Lahat ng ideas mo, bibigay mo sa kanya. Yung ideas ng boss mo, ibibigay mo sa tao. You must be able to influence him, which is the proper way to go. Have a good balance between the need of the business and the need of the people. Yan. Kasi, think of it, yes. Wala kang negosyo, bali wala yung tao. Meron kang negosyo, wala kang tao, wala rin yung negosyo. So they must be able to coexist, no? Kaya nga sabi ko, ang biggest role ng HR diyan is you must be the biggest influencer of your boss para ginagawa ninyo yung tama. Tapos, ang role pa rin ng HR dito, you are the mouthpiece of the organization as far as the union or the employees are concerned. The HR must be very, very transparent in their management approaches and where they intend to go. Wag na wag mandadaya o manloloko o magsisinungaling ang HR at ang owner, because that will start your downfall. If you are losing, tell your people you're losing. Say it in such a way na maintindihan nila na sila magiging sympathetic sa management. If you are earning, say it. Share it with your people. Hindi yung pag nag-earn tayo, ang kumikita lang yung mga vice president, yung mga manager. I-share mo sa tao yan because we are in this together.
Wow, what insight. Wonderful wisdom. Kaya hindi tayo nagkamali. For those who are listening, i-share po ito, especially the later portion. Yung narinig po tayo ni Rene is actually isang conference na po yun. Isang conference. So, pero before you give your parting message, nakita ko, ang buhok mo pala ngayon ay para ng isang actor sa sa Hollywood. Parang hindi ka na nagpatina ng buhok. Pero what is actually, nakikita ko hindi rin mayroon ka palang broken chin. May broken chin. Kaya palang dami palang HR na nai-inlove sa iyo eh. Mayroon kang broken chin.
Chismis lang ho yan, ha? Chismis lang ni Sir Jesse.
Anyway, okay. Ang bilis mo ng oras. Can we have your message, your parting message to all those. Pero wag kang bababa. After the live stream, mag-usap po tayo. Ha? Pero can you give us your message, your parting message to the listeners of HR Hub?
Okay. The parting message here is that we as HR people should not only focus on our job. You should focus on all of the people around us, even to the extent of focusing the needs of your customers, your suppliers, and most especially your employees and their families. We must be able to understand their respective needs. Because without understanding this, we will not be able to understand them and give them the proper interventions that they will need. Remember, we are doing this, sabi ko kanina, we are in this together because it is for the business and it is for the people. And with this, I would like to take my hats off kay past President Jesse because ang ganda nitong platform mo, Jesse. Because ang laki ng marireach mo. Simple lang, nag-uusap para lang tayo nagkukwentuhan.
Yes,
But we
yes.
can share our knowledge, our expertise, and a little wisdom to all of our people. Because
Be ready. You will be invited in the next season po. Kasi what we know now, may nabasa ako, binigay po ni Attorney Nolly, that the best contribution daw ng isang tao is between 60 to 80. Inandun tayo sa edad na yun eh. So that we can
magsi-60 pa lang
share.
ako.
So that we can really share. You know, what you just said is actually so profound. So it's full of wisdom, and then dapat makikinig sa atin. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Rene. Wag kang muna mo alis. So ladies and that's it. Ang bilis ng oras. So how do we bounce forward again? Sinabi na sa atin, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself and be able to plan. Uy, napakagaling nung sinabi ni Rene, ha? You have to go back. Kasi naman talaga, transition niya eh. New normal. So, wag magtatamad-tamad ngayon may sinabi siya from the JD, that's competency-based. And that is actually the foundation of all our programs. Kasi our acquisition will be based on that. Our succession planning will be based on that. Our learning and development will be based on that. Our compensation will be a performance. So, napakagaling po ng reminder. We just said it in a very casual way, pero ang lalim po nun. Ang lalim po nun. So, you start to prepare and plan and navigate and thrive. Ang dami niya pong na-share sa atin. That you have to, yung sinabi niya, be the influencer. Yes, hindi ka dapat matakot. You must have the voice now. What is your voice? You must be able to tell. May sinabi siya dun about, you have to be transparent and honest. How you are going to feed it to your people and how you are going to bring it back. Kasi nga, bounce forward na. And lastly, you bounce forward. So again, there are a lot of things that we have to need. Ang i-add ko lang yan, you have to find your pack. If you cannot never be alone, if you're going to bounce forward as an HR, you have to find your pack. And one of which is, I am very, very much in place and comfortable. Aside from my family, I have adopted some kilala yan ni Rene. I have PP Obet. Right after this, tatawag yan, I'm sure. And then, my dear friend, family, up to the wee hours in the morning, we talk. So, mayroon ka dapat na pack, just like wolves and dogs. Ako may pack ako rito. To support you so that you can bounce forward kasi you need some people to, especially if you're alone and you're in the lockdown, you need some people to talk with, so that you can prepare, adapt, and transform. And that, I think, is the mantra. Right now, if you are 3 months na, dapat nag-prepare ka na. And then, that preparation, little wins. So, meron ka ng protocol. Yung sinabi sa akin na meron ka ng layout. That you are preparing for the new normal. The worst is preparing the mindset. So, wag kang, sinabi ni Rene, wag kang bababa, magkakat doon sa training. You need it most. Not actually. You can call me. Ang dami dyan available. The first is the mindset thing. You have to go back to your way. You have to go back to it. Then adapt it. Ang una muna, ikaw, as an HR person, as an owner, then you transform. We do not know yet. Still up there. Okay? So may tumatawag na po sa akin at tayo ay nag-overtime na and I'm so happy that I have Rene here with me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jesse Francis Rebustillo. Just marvelous po.